There's so many believers today, and there's no perfect human. How then do you identify someone God has prepared for you? What signs do you see? How do you know that this person is the one? These are the things we'll be looking at today. 1. Always puts God first. There's a difference between someone who genuinely knows and has a heart for God and someone who feigns to know God. From a man's words, you can tell the kind of person he is. It's not easy to pretend always to put God first, because the man who genuinely knows God would hear from God. For any partner, male or female, the first sign you must look out for is that the person is saved, and not just saved. The person loves God and strives to put God first. She or he always desires and strives to follow the will of God in all that they do. He's not hypocritical about it. It's more than just being a good guy or a good girl. He's intentional about ensuring that his life is lived in accordance with the dictates of God's Word. He ensures that he follows the laws of God in heart and deed. You see, it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay for him to have his flaws. But a godly guy would always acknowledge the place of God and his mistakes when he knows he's wrong. Let me give you an example. It's not a secret that many men love physical touch. They usually want to touch their women and make them feel important and loved. I could say that physical touch is one of the love languages of men. However, the Bible explicitly says that the marriage bed is to be undefiled. This means that a godly man, despite his fleshly desires and internal makeup, would be willing to obey the dictates of the Scriptures in maintaining celibacy until marriage. A man God has prepared for you would set the standards of God's Word above his morals. And although he might fall once in a while, he's quick to rise and correct his path, still using God's Word as the yardstick. 2. You feel comfortable and at peace around that person. Now, I should say that feeling peace around a person is not the most important indicator that the person is the one, because peace can mean a sign that you have a clear head to pray and now hear from God. Nevertheless, comfort and being at peace in your heart are important signs to show that you might be with the one. The peace of God is usually a confirmation of decisions. Now, peace isn't the absence of storms, so it's not to say that it's someone you have a jolly time with all the time. Peace is more like calm in the midst of the storm. This means there might be issues, but despite and in those issues, there's calm in your heart. You're also comfortable in the sense that you can be yourself. You can be your full self and not try to act like someone you're not. You feel safe to express yourself without fear that they might leave or abandon you, or be scared of who you really are. They love your character and not your position at work or church, because you won't always be at work or church. And this leads me to my next point. 3. You are friends with that person. Or you can get to be great friends without being in a relationship. You see, the initial attraction of meeting someone you like is good, but can you, without that attraction, be friends with the person? Are they the kind of person you would comfortably be friends with? Because the truth is, what sustains years of intimacy in marriage isn't the sparks and the butterflies in the stomach. It's the kind of friendship you've built with the person. It's the depth of communication you can have without touching one another's sensitive organs. So I know that it's possible you're highly in love with the person, but take a deep breath and objectively ask yourself, can you be friends with this person? Do their personal convictions align with yours? For example, what is their take on leadership in the home, submission, domestic chores, and family relatives staying in the home with you? Because all of these things would be revealed in marriage. So, do you have aligned perspectives? For instance, a good man understands that his position as the head of the home is not a place of undue advantage over a woman. He's been given a role to care for, nurture, and love his wife like Christ loves the church. Despite how superior God is to the church, we never hear him mention his position as a way of asserting his authority over the church each time we hear of his superiority. It shows how he has extended his goodness to his body, which is the church. A godly man understands that leadership is sacrifice. I remember one of my friends who cried to me, telling me how her fiancé would constantly tell her she had to honor and respect him because he was her head. Only he could determine what would happen in her future, depending on how well she was willing to cooperate and if she wanted to play games, he was ready to play them with her. Wow, such a shallow level of understanding from a man who claims to know and love God. Knowing God and leading like God is not easy, and it's not something that can and should be said by word of mouth. It must be seen in actions as well. So does he understand this? Does the woman understand that despite being a boss woman at work and home, she's submitted to the leadership of her husband? Is she submitting her life and that of her unborn child to her husband? 4. You feel wanted. When or if the person feels that you're seeking attention, it's a red flag. You must be a big deal to the person. They must see you as a big deal. You should be so important to them that despite their busy schedules, they strive to communicate with you intentionally and talk to you and joke around with you. You're not the last person to hear about a particular thing happening to them. You feel needed, valued, and appreciated. You don't feel small at all. You feel honored and respected. You don't feel disrespected around them. Rather, your strengths are highlighted. Now, as I said, you can't build a conviction that someone is from God merely on the feelings of attraction and butterflies in your stomach. It's an important part, a very important part. You must be attracted to that man or woman. You should feel those butterflies. It's all part of it. So just to be clear, the fact that you feel butterflies in your stomach for someone without the other points doesn't mean that the person is from God. If anything, it's a big red flag. However, you should have those butterfly feelings for someone who's from God. It's important. I should also emphasize the place of teachability. The person must be teachable, male or female. There was a story about a girl in a relationship with a guy. It seemed she was giving everything without getting anything back. She gave money for gifts and gave her time whenever the guy needed her, but he didn't reciprocate. It felt like she was in a relationship with herself. She was always mentally drained from thinking about what she was doing wrong, or if she was overthinking it, or if she was being too demanding. It was exhausting. She was neither too demanding, nor was the guy wicked. He just wasn't the right guy because no matter how many times they spoke about it, the guy didn't seem to get better or do better simply because he believed as a guy you should only spend your time and your money on someone you're married to, which isn't true. 5. The last sign, and most important, is that God confirms it. You see, there's nothing like being able to hear God regarding a matter. So before entering a relationship, you must know that God is speaking to you. God may speak to you through the Word, an inner witness, or dreams and visions. And remember, God won't speak just one time about something as critical as a choice partner. He would give you confirmations to assure your heart that you're not making a mistake.